Is that a message you have to send to the fans as well? I mean, you want the players to give the best effort, but for fans to come out regardless of who you're playing?
Yeah, well, I mean, the fans last year, I mean, we were top 10 in attendance, averaged over 17,000 a game, so you can't say too much about the fan base. I believe our fan base is the best in America without question. So I think more so than the fans, it's our responsibility to make sure when the fans come, and we expect the fans to come because they love to see the Tigers. Regardless of who we're playing, they love to see the Tigers. But I want to make sure the fans leave happy. Again, we can't guarantee any outcome, but we can guarantee or do the best that we can with our effort, and that's what's most important. And I want to make sure when the fans leave that arena, going home that night, that they are pleased with their team's effort.
Josh, the conference schedule has changed a bit in the sense that the 5 teams that you played twice,
Correct.
3 of them are different. You lose Houston, you lose Tulsa. The perception, I think, for most people is that Houston and Tulsa are 2 of the better teams, and you get UCF and Marshall, which are more middle of the pack. Can you give me your thought on the changing of the guard there with the teams you played twice?
Well, what they're doing is they're doing the East-West divisions kind of like football does. So we'll play everyone twice in the East Division and once in the West Division. But, Greg, to be honest with you, I think UCF is going to be really good. They've got some recruits that not a lot of people know about that are actually that are better than most people think. And then secondly, they've got the whole team back. So and Donnie Jones down there is going to do a good job. There's no doubt about that. Marshall, obviously they lost a lot, but they got the kid DeAndre Kane, who will be eligible this year, who was highly recruited, signed with Pittsburgh originally, was going to go to Pittsburgh. I mean, he's a high-level player, and they'll get him. Tom Harrion will do a really good job. We'll keep moving forward like with what Donnie did there. So I think when you look at it, actually the East is probably a little tougher than the West. But again, bottom line is for us, for what we need to do this year, it's going to be really about us having that effort every single time we step on the floor. And here's the other thing. I mean, we're back at UTEP this year. I mean, that's not an easy place to play. Even though Houston's here, hey, we had a tough time versus Rice last year at Rice, and they've got a lot of their guys back. Tulane's here, Tulsa's here. Tulsa always gets geared up for us. And hey, we're at SMU and we got our butts kicked there. So regardless of that, it's not going to be an easy place. Here's the other thing: is I think Southern Miss is going to be really good, and not a lot of people are talking about them, but they've got everybody back. They signed a guy or two. Everyone knows how tough they are to play. We know UAB is going to come up with a couple guys that late in the class, so they're always going to have opportunities to do well. And East Carolina's got a new coach, so I think it's going to be a fun league. I think it's going to be a wide open league, and but for us, we have a lot of work to do even before we get to that point.
How do you compare this year's non-conference schedule to last year's?
Well, again, I know people have kind of given me a hard time about the non-conference schedule, but here's the thing: is I want to remind everyone. First of all, we are in year 2. We're not in, this isn't year 7 or year 8. We are in year 2. The second thing is we got to schedule smart. Okay, that's important. The model is scheduling smart. The third thing is for us is we do have a young team, and we've got to see what's best for the long term. It's not just what's best for a year, but it's for the overall, because we're trying to build a program. And with that, it's going to take time. And again, I know everyone. Look, if I was a fan, I understand it. I would say, let's go get this name, that name, this name, that name, and play them every single game. But the reality is, if you do that, and I know everyone says, well, our home schedule. If you do that, what happens is you're going to have to return the game the following year. So then you don't have any opportunities to play home games. So it's a very fine line, because not everybody wants to play Memphis is another thing. And on top of that, what kind of hurt was having Gonzaga, Tennessee the same year, home or away, instead of being staggered. And that would have made it a little bit easier I'm sure for the home crowd. But hey, this year, though, we've got Miami at home. We're in Kansas on a neutral site, LSU on a neutral site, Georgetown at home. We're at Tennessee, at Gonzaga. People are talking about Western Kentucky. I mean, they're a good team. Western Kentucky's a good team. Austin Peay. I mean, they've come in here and they've been good. I think they beat Memphis when Coach Cal was here, if I'm not mistaken, one time. And Coach Lutz there, who's a former Memphis guy, is going to, they'll be well coached. So Arkansas State gave us trouble last year. I mean, they gave us trouble, and Coach Brady's going to have good players. So it's going to be a challenging schedule for us.
How advanced are you with your schedule making? And in what schools? Because you've said before that you've called a lot, and they've said no thanks, but no thanks. So How are you as far as scheduling for the future?
Well, we're working on right now on not only 11-12, but 12-13, all the way into 13-14, and actually into 14-15. So you're doing things ahead of time. Here's the other thing. Again, I want us to stay in Conference USA. I hope we can stay for the next 20 years. Obviously, that's not my decision. That's up to our league commissioner, the president, AD, all those people to decide on that. But obviously, you've got to take things year by year now these days, because if there's any shuffle, you don't want to get locked into something if possibly, you could be playing that team and if they're in a conference or whatever the facts may be. So right now, we're just doing it year by year, but we are looking all the way in the advances in terms of like tournaments and stuff like that to make sure we get maximum exposure. But the bottom line is, we're going to be a preseason top, I would say probably a top 15 team is what they're based on preseason rankings. And with that, maybe even top 20, I guess. I mean, I don't know what the experts would say on that, but with that, you're going to get a lot of focus on you regardless of the opponent. It's our job to do our job on the floor, bottom line.